how difficult or how easy has it been to get your documents to actually live and stay here?
Well, because I was kind of born with my external passport, so I could easily travel from the UK to Russia and vice versa. I mean, I only used it twice when I was really young, and after my last time here when I was 4, I just never renewed it, and I didn't even know it existed until last year. Because obviously I was so young, I never even thought about, oh, I'm going on my Russian passport, not my British passport. So yeah, I mean, I had that, and then my mum, when I told her I wanted to move to Russia, she was like, oh, well, you don't need a visa, you've got your Russian passport. And I was like, oh, really? Because I was trying to figure out how I could live here long term and how to renew a visa, but then I'd have to get a job here. And it just complicates things because at the moment, like, I have one client which I work for, like a family, and I work with the small 3-year-old kid, teaching him English. Like, I couldn't do that if I wanted to live here on a work visa, because they're not going to sponsor me to live here, you know. I'd have to get like a proper office job or something like that, and I don't really want to do that. That's not my dream, to work in an office and have that type of life, so it would have been difficult. So luckily I do have my Russian passport, but I did have to go through the process of renewing it, and because I was a baby in the photo, I had to apply for them to check I was like a real Russian citizen. I had to wait a few months for that. Then I had to wait for my passport to be renewed a few more months. I think altogether it took 6 months. And it was frustrating because it was also during lockdown, so I think the embassy was shut or something, or they weren't taking appointments. So I had to wait a while to book an appointment, and yeah, a little bit frustrating, but obviously I'm here, so I'm happy I got everything sorted. I'm still applying for my internal passport because I never lived here. I never had an internal passport, and that is something different because I think most countries don't have 2 passports.
Well, basically in the EU, which you're not part of anymore, but you have the ID, so the internal ID. In some countries like Bulgaria, like Malta, they do have it.
Oh,
I think Germany, I think other countries as well. So
I did not realize
yeah, it's like a piece of plastic that you can travel in the EU just using that document. So I think they were thinking about creating something like that here as well, because it is smaller. You can place it in your wallet, and whilst the passport is about this big.
Yeah, it's a bit of a nuisance bringing your passport.
But in the passport we have all the other details, like are you married, are you divorced, are you married again, blah blah blah. Where you're officially staying. So
it's annoying though when you're renting, because I'm having that right now, and it's such a nightmare, getting an internal passport for the first time, because I've got nothing kind of to stand on. I have to get my landlord to come with me to the document center, which is annoying. I mean, our landlords are working full time. I don't want to bother them with this. And we went originally, we got my residence number, I don't know, some sort of paper that showed I'm a resident here now, and then that took literally months, and then we went back and to apply for the internal passport with this paper, because you need this paper. They love their papers here in Russia. Yeah. In the UK everything's electronic. Here there's a paper on a paper on a paper with a paper clip. It's quite funny. But anyway, we went to apply for my internal passport, and they said I needed my original birth certificate. I mean, my original birth certificate I don't bring with me all over the world, you know, it's back in the UK. So then my residence piece of paper went out of date. So now I have to do all of it again. I have to start from the beginning because it went out of date now, and I have to get my landlord to come to the document centre, wait months again to get this paper and apply. It's a nightmare.
The other part is that it's your landlord. This is not a relative.
Exactly.
It's a landlord. You know, it is, that process is frustrating, even for Russians who live in Russia, who are moving to a different city, and who want to rent instead of buying their own place for the time being. It's actually quite a difficult process, and they're trying to change. I know they're trying to change the way it actually works. And I'm actually part of a group of people that's looking to help people who are moving back or moving to Russia. Because I have a YouTube channel interviewing people, there's some valuable insight in that. And there are a lot of people who are mentioning that particular part of the process where you have to have your registration and it is difficult. I don't understand it because I've never been through it. I have my registration here, but I can see the frustration on your face and other people's faces when they're describing that tremendously difficult process.
Yeah, and like, well, after you get married, you have to go to the document center again and bring all your paperwork again. If you change address, you have to do all of this again. It's like, in the UK, you move anywhere and it's the same thing. All you have to do is like change your address on all of the like mail subscriptions you have. If that's like the post office, the government, whatever, you just change it online. It's super easy. It takes you like 5 minutes. Here it's like, I've got to take a day off work to go there. I've got to take a day off my landlord and my boyfriend's to come as a translator.
I know. So it's interesting in a country that is so advanced in banking and just making appointments in healthcare and things like that, but it still has that part of its system that is so tremendously annoying, which is something that I know that sometime in the future, most likely they would change it, because they're slowly changing all the other stuff. Like now you can get your citizenship without giving up your passport. For example, so your boyfriend, if you were to stay here for a long enough period of time, based on other, objectives that need to be completed, he can actually get his Russian passport without giving up his UK passport.
Oh, I didn't realize that was ever a thing.
Yeah.
Really? Once
so
upon a time.
now he doesn't have to give up his second citizenship. The process to get it has been shortened for certain countries like Ukraine, Kazakhstan, other countries as well. So it's slowly changing. Hopefully they'll get rid of that annoying registration, because it is posing as a very, very big problem to many people who are looking to move here. Has safety ever been a concern for you whilst you've been living here or traveling to Saint Petersburg or Yaroslavl, for example?
No, not at all. Well, it's a big help, I think, having my boyfriend just as that like physical male intimidation sort of thing. You're not going to go, I don't know, what kind of safety are you talking about? Like just walking?
In general, if you're, for example, walking home, not with your boyfriend, whether it's during the day or closer to 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night, do you have any kind of safety concerns when you're walking around, or do you feel perfectly safe?
Yeah, no, I feel perfectly safe. Like, I've definitely felt less safe in some parts of London. Like, when I was going to college, it was just in a very, very unsafe area. It was an amazing college, but they purposely put it in an unsafe area because they wanted people who are from that background to have the opportunity to go into media and get a job into media. So they purposely put it in an unsafe area. And someone actually got, this is a horrible story, but someone actually from the college got stabbed like a few months ago, stabbed and was murdered from the college because it was in such a rough area of London. And it's like, things like this about the UK, I'm like, it makes no sense. Who in Russia would purposely put a university or a college in an unsafe area for like 16 to 18-year-olds, Why would you do that? In the UK, it's because you want to have people from difficult backgrounds.
You can organize a bus. How about that? That probably would.
You know what they started doing to help people is they changed the time, the time that college ended. Okay. So we finished earlier and had less breaks, so that the people that were doing the stabbings would, because there were school children, so they would still be in school, so we could quickly escape. It's like, what a crazy world.
So instead of having the university in a safe area and organizing some bus trips to get people from other areas to come in, they did the other thing.
Yeah, exactly. And they also said that 50% of people that can get into the college have to be from the local area. So you end up having quite sketchy people at the university. It's not university, college, but it was amazing. I loved it, but just the aspect of it was if this place was in Russia, this would be a million times better, because they just wouldn't have it in such an unsafe area. And because it was quite far from my house, it was quite a commute to go, as a 16-year-old, I ended up actually moving to this unsafe area. So I actually lived there for 2 years, and I definitely watched my back every single day walking back and taking the bus and stuff. Whereas here, I'm just walking down the street not caring in the world, because I don't feel unsafe here. And I don't know, if I saw someone sketchy, across the road, you just do the kind of precautions you would usually. I haven't felt unsafe. And there's lots of police officers here too, which is good, much more than in the UK, I think.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's because it's Moscow, and I don't know, Yeah, I've seen so many police officers.
Is there anything that you find difficult to get used to while living here? Besides the registration process.
Anything I find difficult to get used to? Well, probably the language.
Okay.
I think, well, it helped that I kind of lived in Italy, very short term, for a while, because I got used to being around people that I didn't understand, like language-wise, and I've been very comfortable with it. Like, I'm fine being with a huge group of friends where they're all speaking Russian, and I don't understand every word they're saying, but I'm fine with it. I'm fine just sitting in silence, observing, trying to learn what they're talking about. Like, I'm fine with that, and I've got used to that aspect. But obviously, being able to speak a language that I feel a bit awkward speaking, because I obviously have an accent when I speak. Obviously, I don't have perfect grammar when I speak. That's hard, speaking another language that you're not very good at, because I haven't been studying it for that long, so.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to give you a boost of confidence. The Russian language is so difficult that local Russians who've been studying in that particular language also make grammatical errors. And it's just a very difficult language, so don't worry, you're not the only one by far. At least you know somebody else like myself, for example, that makes tons of errors, and my subscribers constantly tell me to pronounce things differently.
Yeah, well, I guess living here, you hear it more, and then you'll probably improve by just listening and practicing.
What would you tell people who are looking to visit Russia, who are in the UK, or maybe in other parts of the world, who maybe they have reservations, maybe they're afraid of coming here for whatever reason?
Just do it. So no, you just gotta, I think, just throw yourself in the deep end. Like, for me, I mean, not everyone's the same, but I really like being in, I think an uncomfortable place is my comfort. Like, I like being kind of pushed to my limits. I want to feel like I'm always learning something, and especially moving here, it's very different culturally, language-wise, just everything, and there's always something to learn. Every single time I leave the house, I learn something new about Russia, about the language, about everything, So yeah, just do it, because there's not that much that could go wrong. I think once you do it, then you'll regret not doing it, Just do it.
That's an easy way of putting it. Just do it. Just pack your bags and go. Don't worry about it.
Just do a step-by-step guide of everything you need. And then once you've done, stop worrying about it. Just book your flight and go. Just stop thinking about it too much. Yeah.
This is a question that does have to be asked because of all of the media telling people how bad it is here and be afraid. And
yeah, don't be afraid.
Russia is on the official do not go here list of the American embassy. So
yeah, but it's always been like that though. Russia and America. It's like my internal conflict. Yeah, exactly. Russia and America.
Many young people who have never been outside of Russia, right, or maybe have been to other places as tourists for a couple of weeks, really want to leave, okay? And they want to do so without knowing that in other countries poverty does exist as well. So is there poverty in the UK? Are there problems in the UK like in other countries, or is everyone, filthy rich, no problems whatsoever, everyone knows the Queen and owns their own little house by the lake?
There's definitely poverty in the UK. I can't talk about any other country like the US, but in the UK, definitely. And it's very, very difficult to own your own property. You have to be working literally your whole life at a really good job to be able to afford your own apartment, not even your own house in a nice area, your own apartment. And also you've got to think about how competitive the UK is, because you've got all of these, so many people moving from different countries who want jobs. So all the jobs are so competitive. So first of all, it's really hard to find a job in the first place. Second of all, it's hard to be accepted to the job, because there are so many overqualified people from the UK who are native speakers, but also from other countries too. I believe it's also very competitive in Moscow as well, because there's 2 big cities that people move to in Russia that you can get really well-paid jobs, and it's Moscow and St. Petersburg, right? But in London, in the UK, it's the same. Everyone moves to London. So we have the one city that, and Manchester too, but mostly London. It's very, very competitive with jobs, and yeah, very, very expensive to live in. Like, really, if you move to the UK, you won't get your own apartment. Like now, me and my boyfriend are sharing our own apartment, but in the UK, I was renting one room for almost double of what I'm paying here. And I got one.
How much
room,
was that? How much did that cost?
like £800 for one bedroom with
£800,
two
so 80,000 rubles
month.
for one bedroom per month.
In a small apartment with two other girls who I don't know, who aren't even my friends, they're just strangers. Different situation. Whereas here, I think there are a lot of, like, you can get really cheap dormitories if you're studying. And in the UK, the government actually supports people if they're not earning a certain amount, which in theory is great, but you also have so many people like in poverty who don't have enough money for food, who don't have enough money to like buy new clothes and stuff, like, I don't know, just basic things. And the government does give them a bit of money, but then you come across people who are not working and who are just, you know, sitting around and getting enough money just about to live off, you know. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in the UK, and you may be one of those people if you don't get a job, you know. There's just so many possibilities, and just because you move to the UK, you're not going to be living this glamorous life. Like, I think a lot of Russians think, oh, I'm going to move to the UK, I'm going to live in London, I'm going to have this amazing apartment in like Chelsea or something. In reality, to move to Chelsea, you need to really be earning, like, you know, you need to be really high in like a banker or an investor, or, you know, you need a really big job, and like a lawyer, a doctor, really well paid. And these jobs are insanely competitive. Really, a very, very small percentage of people can afford to live in these amazing places. And if you're not living there, you're going to be living on the outskirts of London, which have a lot of poverty, and you're not going to be in a very glamorous lifestyle. And yeah, it's not as glamorous as people think. They think it's probably going to be like Sherlock Holmes or something, you know, like Peaky Blinders.
That's the general idea. People think if they move to the US, they instantly are going to become filthy rich. And I've heard, I was in a taxi once. This was maybe 2 years ago, and the taxi driver was telling me that, we had these little shops, businesses, and then bigger competition came in, and we were forced to close down because we went out of business, basically. And we want to move elsewhere, and I'm thinking, if that's the reason why you want to move to other places, you're extremely wrong, because people have this idea, I don't know why, that if they move as a business person to another country, instantly all of their competition is going to say, wow, we have another competitor. Thank you very much. Here's the red carpet. Here's some champagne. Thank you for coming here and trying to take some of my customers that feed my family and bring them to your shop. We love you. It's weird that feeling exists. That as soon as you cross the border, instantly your life will become magical. All problems will disappear. It really is a problem here, a mental problem, unfortunately, that maybe in some time it will work itself out. You know, we have to see what the future holds, but unfortunately, I mean, that's what people think. They think that all of the US is Hollywood. They don't think of the US as Appalachia, for example, or Detroit, or Gary, or somewhere in Louisiana. They think it's Hollywood.
Yeah, and especially if you are able to, like, live in London, you need to be making enough money to be able to live there. And to be able to be making enough money, you need to be working so many hours. And then what time have you got to actually look around the area, look around London, you know, appreciate it, have time out? You don't really have that much time to enjoy actually living there. So if you're one of the few people that can afford living and working there and able to do so, it's not as enjoyable.
And people,
holiday, you know?
Yeah. And by the way, people are going to say, well, we also have this in Russia, we have that. And that's the whole point, is that it exists in other countries as well. Like, that is literally the point.
Yeah, it's just going to follow you around. Like, if you're not getting a job here, what makes you think you're going to get a job where it's not your native language? You know, you're competing with English native speakers.
Yeah.
It's even more difficult. It's not going to open up opportunities, you know. And if you're making good money here, you know, grow in that, or...
All right, so now we get to the open floor. Basically, tell the viewers whatever comes to mind, whether it's about your travels here, any kind of advice you might want to give about people coming here, like anything at all. This is an open floor. Please go ahead. Try not to be too shy.
I know a lot of your viewers are Russian, and I think, well, maybe, I don't know who exactly your viewers are, but I think a lot of Russians aren't very necessarily proud, or especially young people, aren't necessarily proud of being Russian, and then just, as you say, just want to like move to America or Canada or the UK. And I think if you're one of those people, like, just be proud of your country. Like, Russia is amazing. It's a great place to live. And clearly there are people that want to live here. Like, I moved here, my boyfriend is obsessed with Russia. There are so many people that absolutely love Russia. You have a great history, so much beauty, so much nature too. There's so many things to see. And if you're ever feeling not proud of your country, please don't, because yeah, it's an amazing place here. And I really enjoy my time here so far. And there's so much more to explore, and I'm excited.
Anyways, Kat,
yeah.
thank you very much for this short interview. Thank you for this. It's not even an interview, it's more like a conversation that we've had, really. Yeah, so if you like this conversation that we've had, please subscribe, put your comments down below. The link to her channel will also be in the comments. It'll be pinned and also in the description. So, of course, go to her channel if you like her type of content, subscribe. And that would be that. If you want to say something, go right ahead.
Sure, thanks for watching.